Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the Infinite Baffle channel. My name is Niall and today we are taking a trip to the pinnacle of the hi-fi mountain. Audio nirvana, hi-fi heaven, whatever you want to call it. The KEF Blade 2 Meta speakers are what many people will consider to be their dream speakers, coming in at £22,500. Not cheap. But I've got to say, before we even start, it has been an absolute privilege to listen to them, and we're going to talk about exactly what they bring to the table for that price point in this video. If you do enjoy the content, as always, make sure to leave a big thumbs up on the video. The support is always hugely appreciated. Make sure to leave any feedback in the comment section down below as well. And yeah, let's get stuck into it. It's going to be an exciting one. So before we even talk about how these things sound, the first thing I want to talk about is the design of the speakers themselves, because when you look at them, they are a mechanical marvel, an engineering masterpiece. I mean, there's a bit of a cool backstory actually behind the way that the blades are designed and why they've got this really almost like alien-esque design to them, and that is that many years ago, apparently, KEF basically gave some engineers free rein to design a speaker that was never intended to be brought to market. It was going to be like a concept speaker, but they basically wanted it to sound as good as physically possible. And this was the shape of speaker that they designed. Apparently, this was the speaker that is the perfect cabinet to produce the perfect sound. Now, KEF took this speaker, the original concept, to a few hi-fi shows, audio shows. The reception on it was absolutely incredible, so much so that they that the hand was forced a little bit, really. They had to bring it to market, downscale it a little bit in terms of costs and the way it was manufactured, because the original one was designed by using metal, designed by the same companies that design Formula One cars, so they had to kind of downscale it a little bit on that front. But what we're left with now, I mean, what was left with at the time was the original KEF Blade, or a couple of generations down the line now, this is the KEF Blade 2 Meta. But I mean, even just to look at them, as I say, they are an engineering masterpiece, so out there. It's, again, like something you'd see in an alien spaceship almost. I could be mistaken, do correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I think the original blades were also the pioneers behind some of the technologies that you see in a lot of the KEF speakers now in what make them so special. So things like the Uni-Q drivers and the metamaterial absorption technology that's built into almost everything that KEF do now from a certain level upwards. And again, in the Blade 2 Metas, with it being present, you just know that they're going to sound absolutely fantastic in terms of staging, and then also in terms of placement. It makes them a little bit more forgiving as well, something that we touched upon a lot when we spoke about the LS50 Metas recently. What the metamaterial absorption technology, which I'm going to call MAT from now on because much easier to say, and the Uni-Q driver, what they both do, the MAT and the Uni-Q driver, in really simple terms, is essentially the MAT is there to make sure that the signal stays as pure and as clean as possible, that there's no interference whatsoever. So what you're listening to is just the music. And that combined with the Uni-Q driver, which is designed to make sure that the staging is absolutely spot on, just comes together to make an incredibly immersive experience. And you could say that about the LS50s that KEF produced, but when you listen to the blades, that is obviously elevated to just a whole new level beyond belief. Now, if you're someone that's looking at the Blade Meta 2s, it's worth remembering, obviously, with these being a £22,500 speaker, that is just the beginning of the investment. You're going to make sure that you've got some serious kit around them. Now, we did two separate systems. We did one using just the musical fidelity Nubista 800.2, an integrated amplifier that we reviewed very recently on the channel. Incredibly powerful. The KEF guys recommend power of between 50 to 300 watts. The musical fidelity alone gives you more than enough there, and that gave an incredible amount of oomph. Sounded fantastic. We also did another system which revolved around a named pre-power package, the new NSC 222, the NAP 256th generation, and also the ND Extremer, where we were listening to the music via Tidal. So two very different systems. Like I say, with the musical fidelity one, you could tell there was that bit of extra oomph, but I've got to say, with the name pre-power, there's a little bit more control, a little bit more finesse to it, and both systems sounded absolutely incredible. I mean, I've failed to see, to be honest with you, if you give these speakers the right amount of power, I think you're going to struggle to not be blown away. So the big question is, how do I think they sound? Phenomenal. End of section. They are absolutely incredible. I mean, I think seriously, if you're someone that's looking to go for a pair of Blade Meta 2s, I do think you need to listen to them first. Obviously, it's a huge investment. I've obviously had the privilege of listening to them here at Audio Affair. And privilege is the word. It really is a privilege to listen to these because they are absolutely incredible. But I don't think there's many people out there that are thinking, okay, yeah, 22 and a half grand, I'm just going to get them. You need to listen to them first. You need to make sure you've got the right system around them that's going to work for what you want, because at the end of the day, this is an incredibly high-end investment. But how would I describe the sound? It's, aside from being phenomenal, aside from being incredible, it's really immersive, really immersive, incredibly musical, and it also treads that line really well about how it's, I'm struggling to put it into words really. It's, if you want to sit there and do really critical, analytical listening, you can do it. You know, the sound staging is incredible. You can pick out all the different instruments. You can blast this out at the highest volume that your ears can take, and there's going to be next to no distortion. There is no distortion, in fact, I would say. You could also turn it down to a really low volume and the detailing is still there. But despite all that detail, despite all that sound that's been fired at you in incredible fashion, it's not fatiguing in the slightest. You could also sit there very happily, chill out, and I don't think these are going to be fatiguing whatsoever. And it's not very often that you get a speaker that gives you the level of detail that these Blade 2 Metas do, but also isn't fatiguing at the same time. You could, again, whether you want to clinically, analytically listen to these and, you know, really pick the bones out of the music you're listening to, or if you want to just sit back, enjoy some really smooth sounding, immersive, incredibly just immersive sound, then you can do both. You can see here I'm stumbling over my words a little bit because it's very hard to describe. It's not very often you come across a speaker like this. We can't move on as well without touching upon the bass response on these things, which is also absolutely insane. It's hard hitting when you want it to be. It's smooth when it wants to be. It just always seems to hit the right note. It's just an incredible experience to listen to these. I always forget to mention this, but if you guys do want the specifications of the speakers in full, I always put those in the description box down below. So if you want to see them all in their full glory, make sure to scroll down and all the details will be below. There's a real depth and layering to the Blade 2s as well. We've used the word immersive a few times already in this video, I think, and I'm going to use it again because the immersiveness of them is absolutely superb. I mean, there's a real, like, vocals are crystal clear, instrumentals are really precise, the sound is accurate, it sounds as you would expect a song to sound. I mean, if you do get the chance to listen to these, I would always encourage you to listen to something that you're really familiar with, whether it's an artist, a particular track, an album, and just, you will be blown away by them. I think the staging on them, again, it's a huge presentation. It's wide, it's tall, and you're right there in the middle of it. It's just an incredible listening experience. Another word I've already used is privilege, and that's exactly what it is to listen to these speakers. It is a privilege. I think in closing, it's actually a very difficult one, this one. I think I stumbled over my words quite a lot in this video, and I think it's purely because when you've got something as special as the Blade Meta 2s are, it's very difficult to do justice to them and to put that into words. I mean, if you're someone that's been lucky enough to listen to these, whether it's been in a demonstration, whether it's been at an audio show where KEF have been showing them off, or if you're one of the lucky few that actually owns a pair of these, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. There I am stumbling again, and maybe you can do a better job of it than I am, because they are just an incredible experience. And again, when it's something as special as this, I do think it's very difficult to put into words. But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Again, as I said at the start, if you did enjoy this video, leave a big thumbs up on it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Next week, again, taking things in a very different direction. We're actually taking a look at a cassette player that's actually doing really well on the market at the moment and getting some really cool, interesting feedback and reviews. So cassettes, are they coming back into fashion? Let's discuss that next week. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you all there.